welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys can hear me clearly. I'm currently outside in the outside spot at my gym, and there's traffic on the side, so if you hear some kind of noises, don't be alarmed. But yeah, you guys, today we're actually going to be doing a lower body mobility and flexibility, and we're mainly going to be focusing on our hips and our hamstrings to just like literally just get a little bit more flexibility in those areas. And of course there will be a little bit of core that has to do the exercises I'm going to be doing today, or the exercises I'm going to be showing to you guys today. So I hope that these exercises are going to be very helpful, and if you haven't done so, please click the like button, please subscribe, please share my video, please subscribe to my channel, just please do everything. But then yeah, you guys, I hope that these videos have been helpful so far. And I'm actually filming this intro of the video after my workout or post workout, so I hope that it's going to be helpful still, and it's going to be beneficial to you guys who are going to be doing it. So yeah, please enjoy, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Okay, you guys, now we're gonna start with our shin box switch, and we're just gonna try to make sure that we get our body ready for the following exercises and to activate our hip flexors. With this exercise, you guys, the most important thing that you can do is to make sure that while moving or twisting your knees from side to side, you make sure that the knee that is standing up is as firm as possible, and the one going lower down or going on the inside, you try to push it as low as possible, and just try to make sure that you engage your core the whole time. Okay, now we're going to move on to our hip extensions, and I hope that my moves or my thrusting forward doesn't look overly exaggerated, you guys. But then I found that if I don't push my hips as forward as possible, then I'm not able to get the full effects of this exercise, which I think is what's important on this exercise, as we're trying to make sure that we get those flexible hips, and to make sure that we get the most on our quads as well, right? So with this exercise, you guys, just try to make sure that you maintain a straight back, and try to thrust or push as forward as you can, and make sure that you engage your core, because you're going to need that while you hip extending or lunging or moving or shifting from side to side. Just try to make sure that when you go back or onto the original position, you try to make sure that you keep your core engaged and you keep your body straight. Just try to keep a straight form. That's what I'm saying, I guess. Okay, now we're going to transition from the hip extensions to the lunge switch. So the most important thing, you guys, with this exercise is to make sure that you keep your core engaged, and you try to maintain a straight position while lunging from side to side. Another thing, you guys, that is important on here is that the foot that is at the back of the lunge is as low as possible, and you try to make sure that your heels are also pushed onto the ground as low as possible, depending on your flexibility, in order to make sure that your hips get the full extent of the exercise, and you just literally just get the full effect of the exercise. So now we're going to move on to one of my favorites if you're trying to strengthen those quads and to moisten your hip flexors. So this one, you guys, I call it the extended shin box exercise, and it's a very effective for your overall lower body mobility and flexibility. So the main things, you guys, to keep in mind while trying out this exercise is to make sure that you keep your core engaged in order to be able to control your motion from side to side, and to make sure that your back is straight. So another thing, you guys, in order to get the most for your hamstrings as well, is to make sure that the extended leg, its toes are facing up, right? To make sure that you get the full stretch on your hamstrings, or you actively stretch your hamstrings as well. Okay, you guys, so now we're going to move on to one of my very favorite exercises when it comes to active mobility and flexibility training. And this exercise, you guys, or our one-sided cossack squat, for this one, you guys, is very effective because it just targets your hamstrings and your hip flexors all at once, right? So with this exercise, you guys, one of the main things that I want you guys to keep in mind is to just try to make sure that you engage your core the whole time, right? That's going to be very important, especially if you're trying to push yourself forward or to lift yourself off of the mat or off of the ground. So another thing, you guys, that you also want to do while doing this exercise is to try and kneel as forward as possible in order to get that full effect on your hips. Another thing, you guys, that I want to mention is that, like, while you're kneeling forward, you also want to make sure that, like, your heels or on the other foot that is stretched on the outside, you want to make sure that the heels are facing upwards in order to just make sure that, like, your hamstrings get the full effect of this exercise. And you also just want to make sure that the bent knee is pushed flat and the heel of that bent knee is pushed flat as possible in order to just get that full twisting motion on your hip flexors. And if you want to play around with this exercise, you guys, or you just want to challenge yourself just a little bit further, depending on your flexibility, of course, you can just try and bounce while holding that position and then go back down and just keep going like that. If you're still struggling with your balance, just try to use your arms to lift yourself back, or just try to maintain this position, depending, of course, on your flexibility. If you can't sit down yet, you can just do it while standing, and then just try to bounce in order to keep those muscles activated, to keep your hamstrings activated and to keep your hip flexors activated. And just make sure that, like, you repeat the exercise on both sides.